What's up guys, Ben here, bringing you the video today. We are post Major 1, so let's revisit our tier list, rank the teams now 1 from 12, and see where everybody stands going into the holiday break and the start of the Major 2 cycle. Alright guys, as you know, these are the categories we normally do. You see the layout's probably a little bit different because someone told me there's a presentation mode on Tier Maker, so I haven't been using that the last couple of times I've done this. I don't know why, but now I do. So I don't do the S and A tier thing because I think it's dumb, because we've seen that a lot of teams win different events, and I think the letter system's kind of stupid. So this is the way I do it. We've got our 4 categories: Sunday regulars. These are your top 4 teams. Potential contenders are going to be your like top 6 or top 8 teams. Work to do are going to be your teams that like barely just miss out on champs. So you're thinking like 9 through 10. And the missing pieces are teams that I think are probably a roster change or 2 away from being a decent squad. So let's dive in. All right, first up, we got the LA Thieves. And I know they didn't really place amazing at this event. I think really the slaying just wasn't there for them this weekend, but they've been solid. It puts a little bit of a quandary in my mind because I think this team is good enough to be top 4, but as you've seen right now, like it's pretty compact. So, oh man, I think I'm gonna put them in potential contenders right now. I feel like this list is gonna be hard, guys. They're like right on the cusp of being a top 4 team, and they probably are. I just like don't want to put like 6 people in the Sunday regulars category because it kind of defeats the whole purpose of these categories. I just think with a little bit better slaying, this team will be back to their normal spots. They weren't bad, like statistically, like in terms of win percentage or just how they play when you dive in on like S&D. I just think the slaying let them down this weekend. They weren't really in tune with the meta and sort of how it evolved over the course of the week. And that's why they ended up getting like not a top 4 placing. So if they fix that, they'll get bumped up a category pretty easily. All right, next up, we have the Vegas Legion, and as well as LA Thieves. This team got top 6 at Major 1, which I think for Vegas is an amazing placing and leagues above anything else they've ever done really as an organization on land. Like this team is gone from being a bottom dweller to now being a serviceable squad, but there are potential pitfalls with this team. I think that is sort of preventing me from really wanting to put them in potential contenders, at least right now. And we might jockey this list a little bit once I add all the teams. First off, like they were just not good at hardpoint. Really most of this major, surprisingly, statistically one of the worst hardpoint teams. I think they only won like 30% of their hardpoints if we count both the online weeks as well as the week of the actual event itself. And they were like not that good of a control team either. So respawns across the board really were a problem, but where they exceeded was their ice in S&D. They were one of the better S&D squads over the course of this cycle. So I think they're figuring out ways to grind out series where past versions of Legion's teams just kind of wilted in game 5. So I think with all that considered, I'm going to put them in work to do for now, but let's see how we fill out this list because I might slide them up a category because I think they are really kind of a contender to ideally make it to champs. So let's see what happens. Next up, we got OpTic Texas, much discussed team. If you watch my video from yesterday, they ended up not making it to the bracket portion of this event, which was surprising. If you watch my previous video, it seems like there might be roster changes on the horizon for this team. I think the Florida buzzsaw for them probably prevented them from getting to the weekend, which I think if they were another group, they probably get done. And maybe that's a hot take. You know, maybe OpTic fans agree, disagree, and y'all can chat in the comments about that. But like, I think this team is definitely better than the top 12 placing that they ended up getting at this event. I think their biggest issue right now as a squad is just the pacing and sort of how they want to play Call of Duty as a squad is just like completely messed up in the sense of I don't think that all 4 of them have an idea, the same idea of what they want to do on the map. And you see it sometimes with, Ant's really the one that takes long routes on the team. Their ARs aren't as fast as some other squads. I thought Seth is playing pretty good in general, but I think they need a little bit more speed, and they need to align around more speed, and they may make roster changes to address that. But all of that being said, like I think for future events, this team should be a shoo-in for top 8. So for now, I'm putting them in potential contenders, bumping them down from Sunday regulars, where I think I had them last time in this video. I don't remember, but I think they should be a top 8 team, roster changes or not. But they've got to fix this sort of not be on the same page issue because they've had it now for a number of events dating back to last year. All right, next up, we got the London Royal Ravens. And after a really good start to the season, going 2-0, absolutely did not play well at Major 1 and completely bombed out on the first day of the event. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about this team other than just like OpTic. I think roster changes are on the horizon. And so, they need to figure out how to sort of build a team that's going to overperform what is probably a talent gap between them and some other squads. So I think more discuss about this London team once they kind of finalize their changes. I'm going to put them now in missing pieces because unfortunately I think they're sort of near the bottom of sort of some of the teams in the league right now, and I don't really see them at the moment contending for a champ spot. And I think probably joining them in this category is going to be the Los Angeles Guerrillas. And just like London, I think LAG has severely disappointed and not been competitive. I've been on record as being very much a pessimist about running back the trio, and I think those concerns have been found valid. A lot of rumors now surround this team, and potential roster changes could be as many as 2, maybe 3 changes into this team. So for all that being said, once again, like London, I'm putting them in missing pieces because they need to make some roster changes, and then we'll see where they stand once we get the action back in January. I'm going to bounce around a little bit. Boston's next on my list here, but I kind of want to do them last because I don't really like, they're a hard team to rank. So let's do Seattle, who I think have actually impressed us with sort of how they played at this event, ended up being your runners up at this tournament, really improved their search over the course of sort of 4 weeks. Like, they were a bad S&D team, and they got a little bit better as the event progressed. Obviously, respawns are amazing. Pred played well. We got a lot of big series from Mac. Dante's doing his thing. And look, Lamar's not the highest slayer, but like against FaZe, like he was absolutely killer at times in a few of those maps, helping them win. So, we take a look at where I think kind of the Sunday regulars top 4 is going to kind of fall out. I think we'll end up filling it with mostly of the teams that finished top 4 this event, which will be Seattle. If they just continue to play this way, they're always going to be a shoe-in for Sundays. My only thing with putting Seattle here, though, and I'm sure people are going to complain in the comments, is yeah, they probably will be an inconsistent team. But right now, I'm putting them there. They may fluctuate down between them and contenders when this team, inevitably, they all don't click an event because there's a bunch of them throughout this year. But right now, going into the next event, if they continue to play this way, yeah, they're going to be on play on Sundays. We got Toronto Ultra coming up next. Another team that, we had in sort of this crazy category when last time I did this of like potential contenders, because I thought top 6, top 8 was sort of packed with all these teams. And I think the Ultra have made themselves sort of stand out. I think we all knew that this team would have potential and could play well. It was just a question of how fast would they click. And honestly, they clicked pretty fast. I mean, Scrap's come in the league and been what we expected. Like, he's going to be, in that MVP conversation, shoo-in Rookie of the Year all year. Danny's been very impressive and seems like getting out of the Minnesota situation was key for him. Jamie had a great series. Jamie Insight played phenomenal, as well as Kleenex. So this team's clicking, firing on all cylinders. Just came up short on Sunday, but they're a Sunday regular. Happy to see more Toronto Ultra battles, more scrappy promos throughout the weekend. This guy talks smack to the Spanish team in Spanish, so I tip that. Next up, we got the New York Subliners, your event winners from this event. I don't know if anyone really saw that coming, but I think it speaks towards the good work that coaching staff has done to build the right culture around this team. We're going to do a feature episode of The Flank. We're going to talk more with the New York crew about sort of some of the stuff that's been done over the offseason, and I think it's a testament to that of how they placed well at this event, how good they looked across all 3 game modes. Hydra was obviously leading the line with this team, doing his thing as always. But I mean, Kiz was phenomenal on the weekend. Skies had a couple of great series. Preston was probably their MVP the first couple of days. Teams firing on all cylinders. We're putting them in Sunday regulars for now. Again, I could see a lot of fluctuation between this and potential contenders over the course of the season as, we work through these sort of 5 majors going into champs. But this squad really, really, really impressed me this weekend with their dub, and they're number 1 team right now, so we got to put them in that spot. And then I think we got the final team we're going to go ahead and put in Sunday regulars, and that's going to be Atlanta FaZe, who played really good throughout the weekend, just kind of didn't really show up on Sunday, which was a little perplexing. Like, they've got all the tools to be good, but this is a number of events now dating back to last season where this team just can't get in the right spot on Sundays. I think eventually they will figure it out because I think this change for bringing in Slasher has worked out. They're probably, when it's all said and done, either the best or second best S&D team in the league, which is a big improvement from last year. Oddly enough, they just weren't that good or amazing at respawns throughout the weekend. Like, they were still an above average respawn team. But, if they want to be the dominant themselves, they're going to need to get a little bit better in those game modes, which I think they'll put in the time and get done. But across the board, the squad looks good. And I think especially for me, at Beezy's performance this weekend should give a lot of hope to Atlanta FaZe fans that he's looking good this game. If they get more weekends and weeks like that from him, I think they're going to do a couple of trophy lists this season. So we'll put them here. We'll rank it kind of in the order of how these teams played and finished. on Sunday, but I think this is your top 4 pretty solidly right here. These last 3 teams are very difficult to rank, and I'm really like not looking forward to this. So let's try and do Boston first, and then we'll see how this goes. I don't know what to think of this team, honestly, because they played good online the first week, didn't play good the second week, and then they pulled up to the event. I guess Big Wake didn't feel well, and they sort of bombed out. This team should be good at this Vaznev meta, and so it's perplexing to me to think about where they sort of fall. I think they will have better placings ahead. Even if it shifts to more of an AR meta, they're still going to be good because they were probably one of the better teams in the M4 meta. I just think they had a bad week, and it happens at events. So for now, I'm going to put them in potential contenders. There's a warning sign for now. If they don't play well another event, they may drift and sort of struggling to qualify for champs. But for now, I'm putting them in top 8. These last 2 teams, one of them is going in work to do, and one of them is going in potential contenders. I just don't know which one yet I want, and I may actually shuffle these around in a sec once we place all of them. Let's start off with Florida. So, it's kind of a journey for Florida. They managed to get top 8 this event, but, they did their thing against OpTic as usual. I just don't know outside of that how well they really played the rest of the weekend. Like, there is clearly sort of a talent gap between this team some of the other squads in the league, and you really see it in the respawns where they are just not, they might be actually either the worst or the second worst like respawn team. I can't figure out if it's like them or like LAG is probably the worst, but the talent issue is there. And I think, though that being said, like I like potentially with time this team sort of figuring that out and becoming dangerous because their S&D is pretty good. You may look at their record over a record and you say, oh, well, they went 7-5 in Major 1, like, are they that good? I think if you dive in on the stats, they played a lot of really tough teams in S&D, a lot of good squads in S&D. Their advanced statistics support them being like a pretty solid S&D squad. So I am going to put them, though, in work to do because I think the talent gap may be too much for them to overcome to qualify for champs. And then finally, we have the boys on Minnesota RØKKR. Did not have a good weekend. Yes, they got top 8, but it's disappointing for this team that really should have ambitions of top 4. And I think what let them down once again was the hard point, as is a recurring theme with this franchise. They just can't seem to figure out this game mode, and it didn't click for them this weekend. They were fine in S&D, not great. They were fine. That's also another area of improvement. And weirdly enough, control was their best mode. I think really all of Major 1, which is interesting. So for now, I'm putting them in potential contenders. Minnesota RØKKR is one of the teams I'm watching the most in Major 2 to see how they come correct in the next major, or this becomes a very interesting situation. So now I'm thinking about if I want to shuffle things a little bit on the ranking on this. It's 4-4-2-2. I feel like I want to like even this out a little bit, low key, but I just don't know if I want to move RØKKR or Florida down a step. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do this, and we're going to call it a day with this ranking. And it really speaks towards the fact I think this 7th spot is sort of open because as like RØKKR is, I think they may really find a way to get like a 7th or 8th spot for champs. I think though, like these 5 squads are probably trying to fight for the last one. Realistically, probably these 3, because I don't know if London and LAG are going to find like a couple of good event placings this year to get it done. So I think this ranking is probably fair to how I think right now. But as I discussed in the video, like I think these 2 Sunday regulars, potential contenders, will definitely shuffle teams over the course of the year, and maybe some people fall down to work to do. But I feel like right now, this is sort of where I think teams fall heading into the holiday break, and we'll see what teams can do after they come back and we get ready for Major 2 qualifiers. Yeah, that'll do it for this video. I always enjoy doing tier lists, and this one was pretty fun to do. Let me in the comments if you agree or disagree with my rankings. I think there's a couple other questions I addressed in the video as well, so if you have responses to that, let me know. We have a bunch of content coming out this week. I think I'm going to do a player tier list at some point. I want to do a hot takes video where you guys send a bunch of stuff over and I let you know if I think it's hot or not. We'll have some roster mania content because things are heating up on that front. So a lot of stuff coming for y'all over the next couple of weeks as we get into the sort of the holiday break. Things are going to slow down a little bit, but pick back up after then. As always, guys, like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more content, and we'll see you guys on the next one.